Oh, and welcome to another episode of DC Alliance. Of course, I'm your host, Clay. And this evening, this afternoon, this morning, whatever day you are listening, we are going to be talking about some Batgirl photos behind the scenes, some videos, some castings. Um, Travis just could not wait to talk about a particular scene from the Batman that has already been released. And of course, episode 4 of Peacemaker. So, of course, with me today, my buddy, my pal, Travis underscore 156, Travis Hines. How you doing today, bud?
Cowabunga dude. Uh, with my Ninja Turtles mug there. I'm doing great, Clay. A little tired, like I was telling you earlier before we started. Long day of accounting. I did find out I could write off some things in income tax class today, which was rather interesting.
My
new
wife and I
new
joke
computer, all
about
that
that
stuff.
all the
So
time. She introduced me to the show Schitt's Creek. And then there's that one episode where the son learns about writing off things. And the dad's just like, Who writes it off? Like, who pays for it? Nobody does. It's a write off."
it's it's
I
great. It's not quite as easy as that. There's like limits and only up to $500. Shout out to the GUA founder there, Mr. Snell. Just a little heads up. T-shirts and mugs and pins and all that stuff. That's all. We don't have to report any of that on our income tax. That's just gifts that the employer gives the employee. Just throwing that tax rule out there for people to let anyone know if you're going to give people shirts, they don't have to
man,
declare it. They don't have to
man,
declare it.
Heinz is giving out free tax information. Man, about to get some people rich over here. But we talked briefly right before we went live. We've had a little bit of a week. I've had a little bit of a day. School is kicking our ass, but we're here. We're gonna talk some Bat Family, some really 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 funny Peacemaker, and
Yes.
uh, and yeah, let's go ahead and move into the GUA paperwork. Of course, the GUA, the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, is popping recently, especially this year. We have made some promises for Patreon and whatnot. So, of course, DC Alliance is a part of the GUA network. We have 8 shows across 7 days a week, 4 bi-weekly, 4 weekly. Those bi-weekly shows start off with a slice of film with Katie that is currently on hiatus, but the last one that we did record, because I had the privilege of being on that last one recently, was a slice of Afterlife, which was the Ghostbusters Afterlife. So go ahead and check that out. The next bi-weekly show is World's Finest True Believers. The most recent one is, of course, with Nathan taking all of my content, reading about Shattered Grid over there, the second volume in the deluxe volumes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Really, really, really good episode. I actually had a conversation with Nathan a little bit after that, talking about how spoilers for that episode and for that story. The death of Tommy Oliver was the best thing about that series, the worst
Am
thing
I
about
shocked how you said that?
the worst thing about that series was bringing him back. But the next, of course, my show on that bi-weekly schedule is Ranger Alliance. There was a little bit of a hiccup because of the craziness of my schedule in school. We did not drop an episode this week. Instead, Katie and I over at Star Wars Alliance actually dropped a Star Wars High Republic The Fallen Star review on Monday. Today, technically, the day we are live here on DC Alliance. That was really, really fun. Go check it out. I listened to that as well as I will give a little shout out to the Geekverse guys. They did a review on the same book, so go check them out as well. The last bi-weekly show, of course, is a walk through the multiverse with Joe. He, I believe, is the last show that was on there. Of course, if you go to either the DC Alliance or the Star Wars Alliance or even Ranger Alliance show notes at the bottom of your podcast feed. I have the links to every most recent show on there. So there's the title, and then there's the link to go to the next episode. I believe Joe's last episode was talking about what's coming up within the next year of stuff that's been happening and popping off there, and stuff that he's looking forward to. So go check that out. And then, of course, our weekly scheduled shows, DC Alliance, How We Are Here Today, always drops on Tuesdays. Of course, we have superhero discussions where Hines is talking about Spectacular Spider Man until Young Justice comes back. We have Star
But
Wars Alliance. Oh,
hopefully we can get a review of Mask of Phantasm before the Batman.
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
That is a goal, yeah.
Okay, okay. Of course, Star Wars Alliance right now is really popping off with the Book of Boba Fett. Just a reminder for everybody. I just want to go ahead and thank S Bubs for being the first submission for our giveaway. It is the giveaway of the Star Wars Old Republic omnibus that is technically out of print, so you cannot get that book anywhere else. So go review the solo feed of that show, Star Wars Alliance, on your Apple podcast or any podcatcher of choice. Helps the algorithm, helps us be known and whatnot. Go ahead and review, take a snapshot, and send it to either Star Wars Alliance, myself at Fanboy Clay, or to Katie at Slice of Katie on Twitter to enter to win that comic as well. And then our last weekly show, of course, is Marvel Alliance. The last show was Brent and Chris talking about the Moon Knight trailer. Well, I think no. Which one was it? It was I just listened to it today. Finally catching up on all of my podcasts. They're just
In
talking
through
about
one ear, out the other.
it really is, to be completely honest, with how fast I listen to these things to try
They
to
did
catch up
break
on
down
it.
the Moon Knight trailer, Clay. It came out
They
last
did.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just hey, my like I said, in one ear, out the other. I absorb content constantly. I can't remember what is what, when is up, and what time is down. So it is what it is. So they break down the Moon Knight trailer. They talk some news about Black Panther and things like that. So go check them out. Now
Oh, no,
we
there's
also
one
have the
other weekly show, which is us. You do it, dude. We review Superman and Lois every
we
Wednesday night. Check
weekly,
that out.
temporarily weekly show of DC Alliance every Wednesday after Star Wars Alliance. We go live. We talk about, of course, Superman and Lois season 2. The last conversation was very interesting. Showrunners spoiling things about the
We
season.
were in pretty
It
lockstep too in
it
our
it
discussion.
it was a pretty good discussion, but I will say I have to see how the next few episodes go
Yeah.
to see how I feel about how everything is about to go down. So let's go ahead and also just want to remind everybody this is an ad supported network as well as a listener supported network. So if you don't want to listen to these ads that are going to be on this show, go join our Patreon. It's $1 tier just to say thank you. Or if you want to get that exclusive content, if you want to get those ad free shows, $5 every single month. And we are planning to pump out that content. So go check us out. Solo feeds, of course, Star Wars, DC, and Marvel. Go check all of those out on your podcast feeds. Now, let's move on with the show. So, first
Hey,
thing on the
yeah, you just said it.
docket.
Yeah.
First thing on the docket is going to be the Batgirl set photos and everything else. This actually kind of was already on the docket, but because we actually had a question within here, we're going to go ahead and this was a question from, let me get the name here, uh, Weights and Fandom at Zach19831 says, how do you guys feel about all of the set pics and clips from the Batgirl movie? So,
That is a good question, Clay, to be honest with you, because I struggle with that. I'm loving what we're seeing. I think I'm loving the suit even more
mhm.
from what we've gotten, and she just looks so badass. There's a little clip going around of her holding someone out through a window, and essentially saying like, "You let them do this, blah blah blah." I don't remember exact. I tried not to listen to the dialogue so much
Mhm.
as just watch the badassness because I didn't want. anything to be given away from me until I see a trailer, so I can understand Zach's question. But it still looks so cool. So if it's good, like I didn't like seeing Sasha Kaye on a like crane as the first time I saw her wearing the suit. So I think that getting the set photos after they gave us the official photo of her, like when she posted her own photo, I don't think the set photos sting nearly as much as the here. This is the first look you'll ever get at her is somebody just stuck their camera out and took a picture on the sly kind of deal.
Yeah. I will say, I think that is different. Sasha Kaye, I still want an HD photo. I want something that is a little bit more formal. But the very first photo, I don't have a problem with. The photo that I have a problem with is the super blurry one that could have possibly been a better look at her suit, was super blurry and zoomed in from
Yeah.
somebody's phone, and it just looked really, really bad, and that's what kind of got me upset about not really seeing an official photo from her. These though, with Leslie Grace on the set of Batgirl, I really dig this. Now, it is going to sound a little contradicting with how I feel about watching stuff from the Batman right now. The Batman is super close
Yeah.
to being
Well, they had your
released.
money, Clay. You
And
saw a couple trailers and you're in. We have no
I'm
trailers for
I'm
this.
already for going to see this movie. I'm already for seeing the Batgirl movie. But the only difference is I am not seeing a final product or a piece of the final product on Batgirl. I'm seeing behind the scenes stuff. I'm seeing stuff that like just may be cool to follow. Be like, oh shit, this happened on set one day. You know, with Batman, I like with every single clip that I am avoiding, that is part of the final product. That is a part of the movie that I will eventually see on March 4th. So I'm a little bit more hesitant to watch those. Uh, but I am digging everything from Leslie Grace. I don't think we have actually seen any footage and or photos of what Firefly looks like right now.
Nothing yet.
We've only seen Brendan Fraser in his like workshop clothes type things when he was behind the scenes within like the first week of filming, I think it was, and we haven't really seen or heard from him since then.
No.
So I'm curious to know when he's gonna pop up again. I am looking forward to that costume reveal. That's gonna be really, really cool. But yeah, still enjoying everything. There's pictures of like Batgirl's motorcycle that she's gonna have on here. We see some battle damage. Batgirl, she's like bleeding from her lip and chin from one photo. We've seen a lot of set photos have her wearing these like night vision esque goggles. I think that's going to be a really big part of her uh, accessories in the movie. SBub says we've seen Brendan Fraser on set burning a building, but he was in normal clothes. I think. Okay, okay,
Maybe that's his origin, S Bubs. Maybe we see his origin there. That's
yeah.
a possibility.
Because I
I've
remember
seen that
seeing
picture as well.
I've seen the picture. I know that it was technically a video, but I think I just saw the clip art on the YouTube video of the scene where the building is burning. I was just like, that might be a little too much. I want to see, like we said, official photo first, then I am free to see whatever behind the scenes stuff later.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's going to be very, very good. Just a small detail I think that we've technically already talked about, but just we want to go ahead and say it now. It seems that the casting for Dick Grayson's Robin and or Nightwing may actually be happening really, really soon. Travis right now is sharing the photo of Batgirl battle damage.
Badass.
It
Badass.
sh-
Badass.
yeah, she looks like she's gonna hold her own, and I'm really looking forward to it. SWeb says it's just him walking out of the building as it burns. So he probably, of course, set fire of it, beforehand. But yeah, casting for a Dick Grayson is probably happening very, very soon, and it seems that Dylan O'Brien is on the top of that list for the casting.
That wasn't
So
from that NFT scammer, was it?
you keep calling them an NFT scammer, but I have not heard anything from anybody else calling them a scammer. Now, I see how there is a lot of scammers out there.
Well,
I
they'll
think,
tweet three tweets about potential scoops, and then the next two tweets will be, "Follow me for my NFT. Come join my NFT. NFT
hey,
NFT.
you got
Shady
it.
NFTs."
You got to admire the hustle. Okay.
Uh,
Now, see, it's different. I think it's different because of this reason. If it's a giant corporate company that's like, "Oh man, look at these NFTs." I'm like, "Dude, you already have enough money to buy those like NFTs 3 times over. I don't care about buying your NFTs." But I'm not going to purchase an NFT, but if I see somebody that has gotten into that city in that realm of things, it's same thing as like uh Bitcoin, the
Snakes, yeah,
freaking
snake salesman. I have no, I can't believe I've seen some sentiments. Go look at Pod 33 or John Hazelton's Twitter. They both shared the same sentiment because they'll post a couple scoops, and after it gets a bit of buzz, it'll post the NFT stuff. So I just think that maybe we should get some more credible sources. I know that's not a source for here. I'm just seeing that float around a
well,
lot, even in our own
they
GUA
were the
chat.
they were the first ones to share this news about Dylan O'Brien, and then other people started to share it, more credible sources. So, I mean,
We've
as
heard
much
that for 4 years though. Dylan O'Brien being linked as
uh,
like we have
we've
Clay.
heard fan castings. We haven't heard anything about them being attached to an actual film.
I bet you if I
This,
googled it, he would be number one choice for articles dating back several years.
yeah, as a
Yeah.
fan casting, but
Oh
never
yeah.
in talks of things. This is actually, there's legitimate like there's a paper trail here, and the reason why I say that is because Dylan O'Brien and Michael Keaton have both worked together. There was a movie called American Assassin a couple of years ago. I didn't watch it until it hit Netflix. It was an okay movie. I thought that Dylan O'Brien did well for what he was supposed to be in that movie. I think that him and Keaton worked very well together. And I think because of that, Keaton was like, "Hey, if you need somebody within this age group that looks like this, here's your guy." I think that's how that went down.
I don't even think he knows who Nightwing is.
Uh, well, no, I don't think he knows who Nightwing
No,
is
no.
either, but I do think that, like, casting director, whatever, they were like,
Thank you,
"Hey,
S
we're looking for
Bubs.
this." S Pub is
The
saying,
true Marvel scooper here in the chat. S Bubs says, or when she's getting backlash from an NFT post, she posts something like, "Oh, Toby's coming back for 35 movies to get the heat off." Exactly. I saw one today saying Sony wants to have Toby, Andrew, and Tom all in one movie. No crap, they don't. Of course, that's the easiest thing. I could put that out. I want it to be a sunny day tomorrow. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we putting out?
"Yeah," and
Sony wants money.
S Pubs also is making a very good point. We will see how reliable she is when these movies actually release, and the
Yeah.
stuff that she has been saying is actually true. So we're not.
Just thanks,
So
S Bubs.
we'll see. And I have no dog in this fight. If she is legitimate, cool. I have always said, as far as Nightwing goes, Dylan has been in my top 5, not necessarily my top spot. Um, and honestly, on any given day, I feel like my top spot could change.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I have recently seen some people do some photoshops of Dylan in the Nightwing suit, and I think he could do it. So, I did ask the question in the GUA chat: Do we think he's going to have an armored suit? Do we want
Oh
spandex?
God. Don't
What are
give
we
me
thinking?
anything near the injustice. I just don't even come close to that.
I
Oh,
don't I don't think it will.
I saw a tweet yesterday saying that was popular, Clay.
Yeah, yeah, I
It,
shared it in the GUA chat on HBO Max. It's like one of the top things that is streaming on HBO Max. It's disgusting. But I think that with the idea, now that we've seen the mural change back to Michael Keaton's Batman, if Michael Keaton is keeping that same look, I have a feeling that our Nightwing is going to have the rubber spandex and not armor. So we'll see.
I think the same thing because ultimately, Clay, it's hard. It was hard enough. I don't know if they're going to go with the exact thing because Michael Keaton had a hard time even moving his head, whereas Nightwing's predicated on flips and acrobatic style. So uh, it makes me worried that we'll get something closer to what we get in Titans than we would a all spandex suit, which is what I want.
But I do think that with Nightwing suit, even if you were to go with spandex, it doesn't hinder much on the neck or head movement.
Oh, not at all. Yeah.
So he would be good.
I just meant more like the rubber style that Keaton had. Like if they have used that for his body, that I
No,
want to
so see,
see
if you
the.
if you still go that route though, you're in danger of being like Chris O'Donnell.
Oh my god! I never even thought of it. That you're right too. And
That's
then
rubber.
you force the actor to essentially be like those Ninja Turtle actors in the first Ninja
And
Turtles
they're so
movie
like stiff and
in
everything.
their suits and like
Yeah.
overheating and like over
No,
yeah.
like honestly, guys, I have so much faith in DC movies when it comes to costumes. They have never served us wrong with those costumes. Look at freaking Ocean Master, look at Aquaman, look at Shazam, look at everybody.
Every
S-Club
costume
says
play,
give
every
both of
costume.
them Robo Bat BVS suits. I every costume in the DCEU is amazing. So I don't have any, I should not be worried about how this Nightwing costume is going to look. I just do have a preference of what I would like to see. Now, me as a big Nightwing fan, the best Batman and the best Bat family member to date, I would like to see his yellow and blue suit. It's one of my favorites. I know we will never get it, but I love it.
I don't think
So,
never say never, Clay. Especially if we get a HBO Max series, Nightwing, you could get that as a cool Easter egg. You might get it something like the Luke Cage wearing his outfit, how it was like a Easter egg thing when he broke out of prison, and then it was
oh, he had the tiara on.
yeah, and he had to he looked in the mirror with the yellow shirt, and it looked like you know what I mean. It looked really ridiculous, and so you could get something like that. I just this is something that super excites me. I know I'm not nearly the Nightwing fan that you are. But you put me onto that amazing book. Uh, I want to see him in live action. I've always wanted to see him in live action since I saw him in Batman the Animated Series way
Yeah.
back when. So he's always been such a cool character to me. I just seem like potential they've been missing out on for quite a while. All we've gotten is Robin, Chris O'Donnell in live
Yeah.
action in the movies. Sorry, Titans fans, in the movies. Had to finish
Now,
that.
um, that pretty much does it
Well,
for
we got a
the.
piece of casting from
Oh, we
Chris
did
too.
get a piece of casting here. This is actually a character that I believe Gail Simone has created within the Batgirl story. This is uh Alicia Yayo is going to be played by Ivory Aquino, I
Yeah.
believe is how you pronounce that name.
And I'm pretty sure that character is a trans character, and it'll be the first trans character in live action film. Obviously, we had a character like that with Dreamer in
In Supergirl.
Supergirl,
Yeah,
but this is live action movie wise.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, created by Gail Simone and artist Adrian Safah.
Very, very cool. Uh, we have already seen her in set photos, I believe. Um,
She'll play
in
Barbara's friend, best friend.
yeah, yeah. The I don't know if it's best friend, but I know in the comics, I believe they were roommates.
Well, it says
Um,
best friend here in the Deadline article. It
okay,
says
okay, cool.
Aquino will play Barbara's best friend, bartender Alicia Yayo, the first major transgender character ever to appear in a live action film adaptation of DC Comics.
Hmm. Very, very cool.
And she's most known for uh, being in Netflix series When They See Us and Tales of the City and in ABC's When We Rise. And I don't
Okay,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
But that is it for Batgirl. Let's. Do you want to take the ad break
Yeah.
before or after the conversation of the
Ooh,
Batman?
yeah. Let's take it before. We'll
All right.
just lead us in,
So,
listeners.
so real quick, just before we actually jump onto this ad break, we did want to mention the Batman theme by Giacchino
Yeah.
has been released. It is a whopping 6 minutes and like 38 seconds, I believe it was. Um, My first initial reaction to it, I like it. There's ups, there's downs. But overall, I think that the SBub says, and guess who was the blueprint for all of those costumes, baby? Yes,
I had to share.
Snyder is the
I had to
blueprint.
share. Oh,
But with the theme for the Batman, I think majority of anybody who ever listens to this theme is only going to remember what we have all seen in these trailers and in that costume reveal, that doom 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 doom, like that is what people think of when they're going to think of this theme. They probably won't hear like the high melody points or anything else except for that. What were your initial thoughts on the full release of this theme?
first off, I listened to it in the dark with sat down with a hoodie, a black hoodie over me, and I wanted to just enact some vengeance.
Jesus
I wanted to enact. I wanted
Christ,
to enact some
Travis.
vengeance. It's like the Bill Burr joke where he says, "I put on a suit and I feel that evil coming off in me. I want to take over some shit." Kind of the same thing here. I listened to that song and I want to enact vengeance against the criminal underworld. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, just listen to it normally, and I really enjoyed it, Clay. But something I got out of that, I really think this is going to end on a happier ending for Batman. I feel like like this kind of played it so that he'll go through something. Maybe Selena will leave or somebody will leave him and he'll be by himself. But it kind of seems like he will persevere, and seems like the last part it fit really well. Someone shared it with the end of the Mask of the Phantasm,
Mm.
and it fit really well there. And then I start listening to like the highs and lows of the whole song, the whole score there. I really think that we're getting Batman ending in a good place, just in terms of like not like we'll say the Dark Knight where he's run away and everyone's chasing him. I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a lot more positive ending for him just from the listen to that final. If that's the final
Yeah,
score there.
yeah. Now, let's go ahead and take our ad break, and we were actually gonna jump right into Travis and Joe having their conversation about this funeral scene that Travis just could not wait to
Could
talk
not.
about.
We talk about this, listeners, myself and Joe, talk about us not having the patience of another person that's to the left of me here, Clay. Uh, but Joe says, I will gladly step up. I don't care. I have no shame. So thank you, Joe, for that. A special thanks, Joe, and check out his show, like Clay said earlier. We just talk about how cool the scene is. And listeners, if you don't want to be spoiled, skip this next 17 minutes. But we do most of what you've seen here. Most of what we talked about, you've already seen in some trailers. It's basically that full funeral scene. So it was fun, and yeah, thanks again, Joe, for helping out there.
All right. Now we will go into our ad break and you will jump right into that clip. So we will be right back. And we are back. So glad I didn't listen to that. Um, uh, I will say the reason why I don't, I've already said it. The reason why I don't want to watch it is because we are 1 month, less than 1 month away from, well, what is it? It's the 24th. We are a
Month and
little,
a week. A
one
week
month and,
from 1 month and 1 week. So 5 weeks from Thursday or Wednesday. Yeah, Thursday. 5 weeks from Thursday.
oh, yeah, exactly 1 month and 1 week. Yeah,
Yeah,
1 month and 1 week. So 5 weeks away from this Batman movie. Basically, just
I'm
like
so
it.
excited.
I am getting more and more excited, but I also am very hesitant on how I perceive any and all Batman media now. And it's crazy because I have a podcast called Batman News Weekly with one of my best friends here in the same city. And we're both are just like, we don't want to see anything else. We like
Oh yeah,
we are willing to talk about stuff from Batgirl. We're willing to talk about comics or anything else. But when it comes to this movie, we're kind of just like, hey, we don't want to. Because for me, I've already been like, oh, what if this happens? What if this happens? And I don't want to guess the movie before
yeah,
it happens and then
that's
be like,
true.
oh, look at that. I guess the entire movie. Wow. And I know that Snell has been trying to push this whole thing. I think he gave us a tweet in our GOA chat that was like, "Oh, and the marketing has been very well with hiding a lot of this movie and blah 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 blah." It's just like, cool, keep it that way. I don't want to see anything else. Like, I
Clay,
don't care what else that they post. I just don't want to see it. You know?
you had perfect reasoning. Like I would say, yeah, that's kind of suspect. But especially you said when you were talking earlier about the Batgirl Set Photos and that, and you were like, I don't want to say, I don't know. People might say I'm hypocritical. No, not at all. We've gotten 3 trailers for the Batman. We've gotten 2 panels for it, 2 DC fandom panels for it,
Yeah,
where we've heard Matt Reeves talk about it, and they got your money. You're in, and it's only 5 weeks away. We do not know. The Batgirl could be pushed back, could be moved ahead. We don't know anything about that. We haven't seen a villain in costume yet. There's so many different things about that. We haven't seen a trailer. So yes, you getting information about that is right. You're trying to formulate opinion on what you might think this movie could be, even tone and stylistically, like you'll probably get when you see your first trailer.
yeah. As
Yeah.
Bub says, we're less than 3 weeks away from the 1 year anniversary of Pattinson and Kravitz getting it on the Batmobile.
Show me that deleted scene.
Now, that is it for the Batman talk. Let's go ahead and jump right in to Peacemaker episode 4. I think the episode is called
Joe less traveled.
the Chode Less Traveled. Now, I will say quick shout out to our GUA member Katie for getting a official forgiveness from James Gunn himself. Katie, of course, being the individual with all of the hot takes, always the person to say, "Hey, this isn't for me. You guys are dumb. I don't get this humor." Blah 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 blah. Love you, Katie.
Daredevil Netflix show isn't good. I'll never get over that take in my lifetime. Wait, not that. Daredevil movie is better than Daredevil TV show. Sorry, that's the thing that I
Uh,
struggle with. But I love you, Katie. It's so
But
fun. I always laugh.
she went out and said on Twitter, she gave an official apology to both James Gunn and to John Cena, saying how episode 4 was amazing. She was sorry that she ever doubted them, and James Gunn himself said it's okay. We forgive you. And I thought that was really,
Same,
really
same. I
cool.
forgive you too, Katie,
I thought that
because
was really, really fun. And
super coul, super
I
cool.
I think it's great that Gunn is so um active on Twitter. Uh, and I know that a lot of people are always active when it comes to their shows. Gunn is always on another level. He's not afraid to be a smartass. He's not afraid to, say what's on his mind to some things. We saw a little bit of that last weekend.
It reminds me
Um,
of Sandberg, Clay. I find he's like as well, David
yes,
Sandberg, but he's movies only. But you know what I mean.
well, I think that Gunn and Sandberg. I think Sandberg is very much on the very comedic side, while Gunn is a little bit of that dry humor when it comes to his tweeting, and I'm totally fine with that.
Love that.
Um, SPub says today he got blocked by Gerald of Snyderverse. Oh my gosh. Um,
I've had that asshat blocked for like
that
2
is
years.
like the balls
When I saw
on
that name,
no, no,
honestly, I instantly blocked it way back when because I was like, "Who's going? Why is your Twitter handle that?" Sorry, you're
well,
blocked.
well, no, but like just the balls on him to be like, oh, just so you know, I'm important on Twitter, so I'm gonna block you guys and get a whole bunch of my fans to block you too. And it's just
Because
like,
no, because he's promoting the show. Could you imagine? Could you imagine how quickly he would riot if a certain director that he's changed his Twitter name after uh, was told you're promoting your show too much or movie too much? Stop! It's annoying me. Oh
well,
my
and
god, he would be like,
that's what I've seen plenty of people say. They're like, hey, it's okay for your favorite director to promote his shows, and it's okay for your favorite director and favorite actors to pop off on people who were talking shit on Twitter. But once James Gunn does it, it's just out of line and insensitive.
That's
Like,
just that
it's so stupid.
we don't entertain asshats here at the DCA. So sorry. That will be SBub. He's got into the rafters of retirement, never to be mentioned on this show ever again. Is not Gun, but that asshat. That's how I'll refer to him from now on.
It's well, I can't
Crazy,
see,
Clay. That's the appropriate word. It's crazy.
I can't see any of his tweets because I have Snyderverse muted on my Twitter. Like, that's just the way it is. Um, SPub says James Gunn wrote Dawn of the Dead, so really Gunn is the blueprint for Snyder. Oh shit! Oh shit! James Gunn is the blueprint. New
No,
hashtag.
I can't take any more blueprint jokes. Let's start talking about Peacemaker, please.
James Gunn is the
Please, can
blueprint.
we
It's
start
the
talking
new
about
hashtag.
Peacemaker? I've
I'm
been
putting
waiting
it
for
on
so
there.
long. I've
I'm
been
putting
waiting
it
for
on
so
there.
long.
It's gonna be our title for
No
the show.
more, no
It's
more for the blueprint.
it's
Stop.
gonna be our title of the show. Okay.
As long as you give me Wayne's World what, intros and outros for that little segment, I don't care. You could title this exactly.
So let's go ahead
Snyder's the
and
blueprint.
jump into this. It starts off more or less where we left off at the fact that Peacemaker, Vigilante, Abdeo, Harcourt, and John are driving away from the scene of what they are, in, I guess now a crime, killing all those people. Of course, they were all butterflies,
Except one.
except for one.
At first, well, they killed the father eventually, but they took Judo Master with them.
Yes, we see Judo Master is basically just knocked out, and we get this hilarious scene with Vigilante being very cautious about his toe. He's just like, I'll never walk again. Abadeo is kind of reassuring him. It's not the toe that you need to worry about. It's the knuckle of the toe that really gives you that gives you the balance issues. So we get that. We get them at their base. I think it's Moo, Milk. I don't remember his name.
What?
The M dude. It's not Merv. It's MUR something. I can't remember. Um, but he calls Peacemaker into his office. They talk. Peacemaker keeps making the joke
Just
about
call him by
the
his first name.
Mern, MURN,
Clemson.
Mern.
Clemson.
Clemson, that's harder to remember. Are you kidding me? Mern is so much easier.
I guess.
Thank you, S Bubs. Mern. Mern is talking to Peacemaker about, him choking, and Peacemaker's like, I need the dove of peace. I can only kill people when a dove of peace is on my handle. And I will say this: the one thing that Flynn is just so pissed off tonight. I don't know what is going on, people. I apologize. But the one thing that I think I'm already getting tired of is the I will kill every man, woman, and child for peace. That
Well,
phrase.
he kind of he backed that too. He said, "I'm not killing kids that like just because you say so." So
Well,
it's
no,
kind
no.
of making his whole "I'll kill men, women, and men, women, and children. Any amount of men, women, and children in the name of peace." It's kind of already putting that as like a stupid saying for him because he doesn't even do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they end up Peacemaker and Vigilante leave. And they are going to before they
Can I
leave
just mention one thing there when they leave and go for a drive? I thought it was really cool how Mern is basically an ass to Peacemaker. And then what does Peacemaker do in turn?
He's an ass
He's an ass to Vigilante. So
Yeah.
I find that kind of behavior predicates a lot here. You get people acting a certain way. We'll talk about it a little bit with Abidio, way she acts and who she manipulates and what she does. So it gets a lot of that here, which I really enjoy, and I was surprised. I didn't think we'd get that sort of level here.
I really like this because even there's a moment where Abidio is talking to Harcourt right when Peacemaker and Vigilante leave about how, like, I don't think I'm cut up for this. I wasn't really expected to kill anybody. I haven't killed anybody because at this point she hasn't. And like Harcourt, like there's a line in this show, in this episode in particular, where Harcourt reassures Abadeo of like, it's good that you feel these things because then you're just Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
And I think just by the vibes that the show is giving us. Hardcore has a little hard. Keep it sounds like I'm saying hardcore, but Hardcourt is quite possibly the most Amanda Waller character in this show. I
Yes,
think.
because of how she just killed that guy who said he wouldn't attack or do anything, and you start saying like I had a family, and she just took the gun and was like, oh my god, like I can't, and just shot. So she's completely numb to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now she may blame Waller for turning her numb, but she did mention a couple episodes ago that Waller found her, pulled her out of whatever she was in at the time, not CIA, not DEO, but something, and pulled her out. So she may partly blame Waller for who she's become, and I find her really interesting. She goes off on her own after missions are over, and I just love the introspect. She just wants to get away and try and be with her thoughts, but she can never, never be alone. Clay.
Yeah. No. Uh but then we jump back to Peacemaker Vigilante, and like you said, they're a, Peacemaker is a little bit of an asshole. Um
But
but
Vigilante's also pissed, and
Vigilante has a
that worked for
right.
me.
He has a right to be pissed. Like,
That
dude,
worked for me though. That
you
whole joke worked for me.
he was like, uh, "Oh, I'm not mad. I'm just explaining that this happened."
And he was like, "See
And
that right there? The way you said that, you're mad."
he's like, "No, no, I was agreeing with you, you know." But I do like this dynamic. There's a lot of people. Not gonna name any names because I'm not having. I don't want people to go out and just feel like they need to throw shade at other people or whatnot. People online are not necessarily liking this version of Vigilante. I can understand that because, again, just like how the CW had a different take for the character, James Gunn has a different take for this character. This works for this type of show. Bob over here in our chat is saying, hello, first time viewer. Hello, Bob. Go ahead and press that bell on the Geekverse YouTube channel. Make sure your notifications are set to all so you know when we are going live here at DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, Star Wars Alliance, and of course, all the guys over at Geekverse. Really good podcasters. We have a plethora of shows. Go check us out on podcasts as well. S Bubs is saying the first episode I thought Mern was going to be like a male Amanda Waller, but the other episodes show he really isn't. So I Bob says those are the same people who are saying creative freedom.
Yeah, it's very ironic, Bob.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
ironic.
Um
Clay,
but
the thing about Vigilante I want to talk about as well, just because you mentioned it, people were complaining about how he portrayed an Arrow, but guess what? Too, they just used him and his name as a basically a way to hide who the main villain of the character of the season actually was. They
yeah.
didn't even use him that season at all, barely, maybe a couple episodes, but not much. Uh, and they had a different take on the character, like you said. But guess what? If you're a fan of Vigilante in a comic, if you're a fan of Vigilante in an animated property, we'll say, or a well, I guess comic. I don't think I've seen any live action or anything. But
I
guess what? You
have
can
not
go and
even
consume that. But I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
you can
you
hive a character to cause a hubbub if a certain director or a certain show wants to take a try at Vigilante. I don't think the Vigilante fan club is so big that it should matter.
yeah, I think I have only seen Vigilante in comics like maybe once or
Yeah.
twice.
I don't think I've seen an
Um
animation. Maybe in like a
uh,
wide, maybe Justice League Unlimited at some point when
uh
all the villains team up. But I don't even think then
probably in
because
the
he
background, but
shoots
maybe even
guns,
then.
which is
Yeah.
not something that's high on the list. If you can pick and choose,
Yeah.
you're gonna have guns out of it. So
Yeah. But this gets us closer to my favorite scene of the entire episode. For one, I just want to say my assumptions were correct. Because last episode we talked about the white dragon and the possibilities that they might have. This is in fact going with the comic accurate white dragon to the point where they have a comic accurate suit.
That
Um,
costume looks scary to me.
it is beastly. So the White Dragon, of course, is an actual KKK member in DC Comics. Um, the reiteration of the characters go back all the way to the point where he at one point was a character in not a white robe but a black robe. And then the character evolved to the costume of what you eventually see in this episode. Now, in the comics, he is not the son of Peacemaker. That is just something that they have written for the show. Uh, his first appearance is in Suicide Squad, and his death in the comics is in Suicide Squad. So he is very much attached to the Suicide Squad title. So it's really nice to have him attached to the Suicide Squad adjacent of that being Peacemaker.
Do you
Uh,
think that it was notable that Vigilante pointed out the spots in the armor that
I
could
think
have
so.
gotten? I think
Uh,
that may be called back in the end of the season.
but it is going to be very interesting with the dynamic of Vin Diesel. And what I mean by that is family. Uh, the
Also, the
idea.
TARDIS room. The TARDIS room. We got an
So
explanation for that, kinda.
we did get an explanation to that. Now, I will say I kind of already like knew. I think most people who are big into the sci-fi, to the geek stuff, to the nerdy stuff, when they see, because it was in the very first episode, and
Yeah.
so when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's like like a new dimension, like a different dimension to where it's like bigger on the inside. Um, and so John Cena, Peacemaker, explains this away to Vigilante. I will say there is an Easter egg in this episode. In that one scene, the original Peacemaker white helmet is seen at the bottom of the shelf when he is grabbing all of the helmets for himself. SPub says maybe the DC animated universe in like
Show.
5 frames.
Yeah, it's about I'm thinking like a background showing all the characters at some point, maybe when they were trying to stand up against Darkseid at the very end of the series. I'm thinking maybe that might be it, but not very
Yeah,
realistic
SPub
yet.
says I'm surprised they didn't add quantum to that explanation either.
Yeah.
Um, what happens next? I love this scene.
Ooh,
Absolutely love this scene.
Darius, we see your comment. We're going to talk about it just in a little bit when we get to the end of the episode because I've been thinking the same thing, and we'll talk about it. Just give us like a couple minutes to get there
Huh.
because I've been thinking
Okay.
something along that lines too,
I would like to
especially with HBO Max.
I would like to hear your thoughts then, because
Yeah,
I have not been thinking about that.
yeah.
But this very next scene with this lovely, lovely neighbor, this is the greatest scene that Gunn has written on this show so far. So this neighbor is like, so Batman has all of these supervillains: Mad Hatter, the Riddler,
Joker.
Two Face, Joker. We're all your supervillains. If you're such a badass superhero, so the Peacemaker comes up and he says, do you know why I don't have any supervillains? Because they're all 6 feet under. And he's like, see, you can't be like Batman because Batman doesn't kill. He's like, yeah, and that's wrong. And he goes on to this giant explanation. And I love this because this is the exact same argument that is made in comics, that is made in real life between nerds. I love this. And I love it for all of the wrong reasons because all of those people that are going to think, oh, I have validation for my reasoning why Batman should kill. Snyder made the best Batman version ever. Yeah, yeah. You're also having to agree with a douchebag Captain America. Like, think about that.
No, see,
Yeah. No,
sometimes no. I think that people didn't watch BVS. Like if that's part of
no.
what I think is people because people are complaining about this thing. This means it's not in DCU. Batman wouldn't kill him for 25 freaking years. People,
No.
Batman killed from the point in time
Yes.
after Superman showed up until the end of BVS. That was it. That was the
Yes.
point in time when he killed. Then he stopped doing it. So this old man definitely probably didn't get the memo, being where he's living to, that there was a period of 18 months there where Batman was mowing down collateral damage to these henchmen. Were not like Batman wasn't
But
stringing Riddler up by his tie or anything like
but
that. He was just
I still love it because there's going to be so many people that have that argument that say, oh, Batman should kill because look, even Peacemaker says that Batman should kill, and you're like, yeah, the bad guy says that a good guy should kill. Yes,
Batman shouldn't kill, but like I said, like Snell's there, like Batman shouldn't kill, but like he doesn't talk about if Batman destroys a couple dudes that are just henchmen. You're basing everything on realism. What do you think ending up to them? They're getting the best physiotherapy that money can buy on the Joker's crew. No, they're gonna die. Like we just don't talk about it. That's all.
I
So
know.
I
I
just think
love
that's really
I
funny
love
when
our
people get
conversations.
I
And
think it's
also,
really funny when people get passionate about it. Either way, I'm just like, if you just tell a good story, I don't care either way. I prefer he try to go out of his way not to like
I will say
mow
this,
down people.
and
But
also
yeah.
I want to go ahead and take this time because we did forget about answering this question. We did have a question from Joe. Joe thinks that Pattinson's Batman is going to kill. How many people do you think he's going to kill? 1 to 3 people or 4 or more? What do you think? We'll answer this real quick. Um,
0 to 3, Joe.
I
Probably
think
0.
I think he's going to kill at least one person. I
I
think
think he
he's
would be. We can go to the 20s or 30s for manslaughter charges, but uh, we could.
it's
I
still
don't
killing
think
him. It's
I
still
don't think
killing
he's
him.
going. I don't
Still
think he's
killing
going
him.
to straight up murder anybody in that.
But he's
He'll be. I
still
think he'll have to. I think he might be fighting it a couple times, but I don't think he will.
now, guys, if only you could be a part of the GUA chat, especially this past weekend. Me and Snell had it out with the idea of murder versus manslaughter and how Snell forgets that both acts are the killing of an individual. But
I thought that after the trivia contest things would dot. No, it didn't. They're still the same
I'm
combative
just saying.
forces. Yin and
I'm just
yang.
saying.
Yin and yang.
Murder and manslaughter are two different things, but they both take lives.
Do you
So
think? Do you think we will see Peacemaker using all the helmets that he stole from the? I
I
love that
think
little scene where he just takes them.
see and so far we haven't really needed something like the Sonic Boom helmet, but like he also took the Scabies helmet,
I
which
didn't
was
see him open up the black case that I thought the Scabies one was in his own special case. If I remember
oh
the
really?
post
Okay.
credit scene, yes. And I don't think he
Okay.
took that one. I thought about that too, Clay. I was like, did he take the Scabies helmet too? And then I thought maybe he'll just give it to Vigilante, being like, "Do you want to
Oh
wear
shit.
this?" So I just, but yeah, I'm interested. See, one of them is invulnerability. I remember hearing that in the first episode.
Yeah. There's
So
there's a
I
lot
think
of
that one will
different
come
in
into play.
particular ones. I don't know if they will all come into play, but I would like to see at least some.
Yes, same.
Now, at this point, after that conversation about Batman, that neighbor lets Chris know, of course, Peacemaker, that his dad is in jail.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "What the fuck, man?" And so he calls Myrn, he calls everybody there. He's just like, "You framed my dad for the shit I was doing." He's like, "Yeah, it was an impulse thing. We're sorry. It wasn't really our fault. Didn't want to call out John, but of course, we all know that's what John did."
Well,
Um,
they did say that it was him. They told Peacemaker too. So he just essentially,
did he say that it was
yeah,
John?
he figured out who it was. Like
Oh, okay,
they
okay.
kind of ratted him out when he came back. They kind of
Oh,
immediately,
when they came
yeah,
back, yeah, but
yeah.
not on
He
the phone.
immediately, no, he just immediately folded, and they found
Yeah,
out. It was really funny how quickly he found out that it was the economist.
yeah. So now we have Peacemaker going to see his dad. Myrn tells Abadeo, "Hey, go get Peacemaker. We need him." Blah blah blah. And this is
He
a very
also
interesting.
says one other thing to her that really stands out, which is Amanda Waller said that you were ready for this. Prove her right.
Yeah,
So that
and
kind of goes into play.
that is important to what happens now when she talks to not Vigilante. Um,
Another funny thing that just it worked for me. The only thing that didn't work for me was the duck in a human costume. That's the only joke that didn't work for me. Everything else
it
in this
was
whole episode worked.
it was funny in the episode. The post credit scenes I do have a problem with because James Gunn, I think this is his way of kind of making fun of the MCU's cutscenes.
Yeah, like he has to
Uh,
do them there, like at least one that has
well, and like
implications.
the thing is like he said it before this show aired. Yes, there are post credit scenes in every episode because we feel like you need your money's worth. These post credit scenes are nothing worth my money.
Just like
Now,
the Guardians 2 one, because there was 3 or 4 just funny scenes. There was 4 or 5 credit scenes in
that is
Guardians
true.
2,
There was a lot.
and it
Yeah.
seemed like he was making fun there too. So kind
Yeah.
of fits if we're being honest here, Clay.
I would like to instead of having one every episode, I would like to have one
At the end,
every 2 or 3 episodes to show actual progression of something that we don't necessarily know about or something, you know?
show me at the end of the final Peacemaker episode. Show me a man. It's showing Peacemaker coming back to the screen as Amanda Waller, and then show me the other screens of the other people in the Suicide Squad that got out after that final mission, and she's keeping track of them all. And maybe we
Yeah.
get a series with each one of those that escaped.
Yeah. Um but Darla says they've teamed up particularly in a very similar comic story arc to Peacemaker series and again Blue Beetle. Okay, yeah, yeah. So we Travis will talk about that because I'm still very interested on how they
Yeah.
connect. I recently haven't seen Blue Beetle in any comics. Peacemaker has been featured in the Suicide comic recently. It's actually really, really good. But in this conversation with Abadeo and Vigilante, she had a confrontation with Chris with Peacemaker beforehand, saying, "Hey, yeah, you love your dad. You may think he's a good guy, but he thinks I shouldn't live because of the color of my skin." And Chris was like, "Yeah, that sucks, but
So
he's still
yeah, it's
my
fucked
dad."
up or something
He's
like
like, "Yeah,
that.
that's fucked up, but he's still my dad." And that is why I think the ending of this show, or quite possibly a confrontation between him and his father, is going to be very interesting. I think that it needs to happen because of the implications that we are seeing with his backstory, with his history, with
Yes,
his family. I think that conversation and confrontation need to happen.
hundred
Um,
percent.
but Abadeo talks to not Vigilante, and she's like, man, if only Chris's father could go away. And she says it in a questioning way. And that's when he goes, I got to go do something.
Well, she was like, he'd fondly be able to be happy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just can't
And
see
this
it.
is motivation, of course, because Vigilante believes that Peacemaker is his best friend. And what do best friends do? They watch each other's back. They make sure they're happy. And Abadeo took complete advantage of this. This is Waller coming out. This is the Waller gene coming out in Abadeo. Um, we see, of course, Vigilante grab a trash can in the yard where all of these guards and officers are eating their lunch. By the way, Easter egg here as well.
Gorilla Grodd.
Um, Gorilla Grodd and Kondak
Yeah.
both being mentioned on the newspaper. So a small Easter egg for Black Adam in the future. Um, so there's that. He gets himself thrown into jail, and Peacemaker comes out. He's like, "Hey, I think my dad's gonna rat us out." And she's like, "Okay, we'll figure it all out. Let's just go. You need rest. Let's go." He's like, "What about Vigilante? It'll be fine. Let's go." Not really wanting to talk about the situation. Now, let's stick with the prison real quick, with the jail. Talk that whole story real quick. This is another one of my favorite scenes
Fantastic
because
scene, Clay. Fantastic.
we see the like this is again the funny side but yet really dark side of Vigilante.
And gun droiding.
He goes up to these white supremacists and hey, we're going to go ahead and talk about all of the good things that Black people have done for American culture and music. So, my favorite thing is what they did for rock and roll. And he just goes on and on and on, and all these people
Naming
just
all
look.
these like kind of redneck bands.
And he's like looking at them like this dude is freaking disgusting. He is the scum of the earth. And he beats the shit out of like 3 of them. And of course,
But his
Peacemaker.
own self is smart. Peacemaker's father is smart.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, I'm not going to just fight you. We look like the aggressors if I start fighting. So no, we're not going to do that. And Vigilante opens his goddamn mouth. You're a bad dad. And of course, he's only has one living child we now know of. And boom. Hey, I want to talk to the detective. I got information about this case. My son is trying to kill me. All of these accusations. So Abadeo and Peacemaker get a phone call from John. He finds out that Judo Master is broken out of his restraints and whatnot. That fight ensues, which is also really freaking hilarious. The name calling and all of that.
Rematch, mother.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and Abdale shoots him, shoots Judo Master.
Which, I don't know if you're doing that because of the Amanda Waller trying to live up to it stuff and hadn't killed anybody yet, or were you trying to keep him quiet because he was just about to reveal something
I
about the
don't
butterflies?
know if
That's why I don't know.
I don't know if Abadeo knows anything about these butterflies.
I don't know, but she did shoot him at the perfect story, convenient time.
Pristine, very convenient
If
time.
you were
Yes.
a secret villainous person, you would shoot them at that exact time to keep
Yeah.
everything
But
on
even
timeline.
even even Peacemaker was like, "What do you think he was gonna say?" Like
He was
that.
yeah. He was like, I was gonna win. What the hell? Like, I was gonna win that rematch. I was totally winning. I love that. Great fight scene too, by the way, Clay.
Yeah.
We get some show off of judo master's like skills, and some great like fight scene work with John Cena there,
Yeah.
lifting him out of the armbar. Just stuff that not every person who's cast in a superhero role can do. You would need a stunt double for there and have a different looking shot of somebody picking him up and slamming him. John Cena evidently made a career for 20 years of doing that. So I just enjoy Cena stuff in this and the Suicide Squad because I know a lot of it he's actually doing himself.
Yeah. But before we talk about any more of this episode, let's go ahead and take our second and last ad break here. Of course, guys, we don't choose the ads. We don't choose how many times they repeat themselves, and we will be right back. And we are back. So, at this point, after they do after they have the fight out, um, we get Vigilante back from prison. He tells Hardcourt. Oh, well, before that, actually, I believe before that, we get the scene where we finally see that John Cena, Peacemaker, has a butterfly.
I want to just stop here and just talk about this whole final scene for John Cena. All the John Cena haters out there can just kiss my butt. Job, not even speaking of conveying so much at the end there when he's doing his dance. He's dancing to the same band that's wearing the shirt he's wearing. I'm blanking on the band's name now. Just an 80s, 70s heavy metal glam type thing. But I love it. He shows so much vulnerability here, Clay. Like you said, the one thing that really sticks out to me about him keeping the butterfly is normally he just kills anything and everything.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't flinch, but he didn't kill his butterfly, and he kind of like pals around with it a little bit, cuts holes, breathes
Now,
holes, gets high with it.
my thing is though, when we saw the last episode 3, where the butterflies were actually revealed or anything, we didn't get any information that would have Peacemaker question whether he should kill this thing or not.
The other
So
thing,
I want to know his motivations of keeping it.
the other thing with the butterfly, the people that they infected weren't exactly pouring fear toxin in the water supply. They were they were steadfast behind climate change science, believing that it was real.
Hmm.
So not exactly being like this evil, like hope the world burns. More of a we got to figure out ways to they really made a point of saying he was a steadfast climate change supporter.
Yeah.
So maybe these butterflies are here to help. Some of these butterflies are here to help Earth. Maybe make sure it doesn't make the same mistakes that other planets make.
Mm.
So, and maybe others are not like that. So we'll get into it. I guess we'll just go right into it from there. Uh, well, actually, no. Let's just talk about this for a second. John Cena's acting here, Clay, because I really love it. The fact that he remembers first of all what his father did. He asked Harcourt about what's in his file. He asked multiple people about that, and we actually get what was in his file. We get the actual scenes. And what do you think about that?
Well, we get two scenes.
Yeah.
We get one where we see this individual, older gentleman, and I was like, "Is that his older brother?" I didn't think he was that much older than him. And then we just see Chris before he was Peacemaker, of course, as a child, stabbing this dude multiple
Wait. Who
times.
did you think that person was with the mullet on with him when he was stabbing that guy?
Well, that was his dad.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were saying that his dad looked like his
No,
brother. I
no,
was
no,
like,
no,
I know
no,
he looked
no.
good with that mullet, but
There's a dude
I
that
know,
he is
I know.
stabbing, and I don't think that is his brother because
Oh,
the picture shows this younger kid who is a little bit taller. Of course, we would assume older than Chris, and we start seeing little flashes of him, of his brother,
yeah.
falling down, convulsing, foaming at the mouth. Something happens, and we do not know what.
If I could remember, because I haven't watched this episode in a little while, uh, the song that's playing, the music video behind that song, like from that band, is very similar in the way that it shows like brothers playing in memories, like so similar to what they showed there. So very similar, and father son memories. So like just a double meaning with James Gunn with the song, and I
Mhm.
love that. I love those little Easter eggs and little tidbits. I will remember the song for next episode, listeners, and the
Well,
music video behind it. But
Gunn does a very good job with writing his scripts with music in mind.
yeah, 100%.
So I could totally see that. I don't recognize this artist or the song whatsoever. So that I don't know if that shows my age or not.
I
Um,
watched the video on pop up. We used to only have like 18 channels, Clay, and like channel 15 was much more music. And they
uh,
would have pop up video, old pop up video songs, like they would have facts about each song. And
mhm.
I know that I'm right on this. I have to figure out the name of the song, but it's driving me crazy. I remember the chorus and that, so I'll look that up. But I think I'm right that the way they showed Peacemaker's brother and backstory, like his flashbacks, were very similar to how that music video goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but we end this episode with the reveal Mern is a butterfly.
Yeah, which he's going after other butterflies. So that causes me to think about what I talked about there with some, like the butterflies that infected that family, those are good butterflies, and he's not so good of a butterfly. Or it's the reverse. They're bad butterflies, and he's a good butterfly. But I need to get some
I
explanation about that.
I think it is, hey, I will kill my own species to get closer into the government of this human species to take them over from the inside. I
Oh, that's
think
interesting too.
I think that's what it is. It's more of like a sacrificial, like, hey, we knew that our people would die, that we as butterflies only live, X, Y, and Z, like all this information, whatnot. I think that's what it is. Because I mean,
I wasn't
it
expecting
it
that. Not
it
gonna lie,
wouldn't
I kind
it
of
wouldn't
forgot about that.
it wouldn't surprise me if we find out that Waller knew that he was a butterfly.
That's what I was thinking, Clay, because in the first or second episode, Economist is talking to him and is like, "You've never had a feeling? Like you've never expressed like a feeling before?" So he's probably been a butterfly his entire
Well,
being.
look what S-Bubs just said. S-Bubs says maybe that's why Mern was put on the squad for being a butterfly, but agreeing to kill the rest.
Yeah, that could be,
Maybe.
or maybe he's
Now,
double crossing Waller too. Like I said,
I'm
he.
I'm watching the scene right now of like the dance and the music and stuff. I just also want to say this. There are some times when I see John Cena, he is too big for his own good. Like his arms and the way shirts just fit on him. When he falls on the ground, his arms just look so weird. And it's just like that can't be comfortable or healthy. Like
I'm pretty sure the latter is not that much of a question for John Cena in terms of health, but I know it's definitely not comfortable. It definitely can't be comfortable, but I can't throw any stones of John Cena not being healthy from my glass house and my empty bags of Cheeto nachos that are like just
Hey, the
to the
yellow
left of me.
bag, the one that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Me and Travis had a conversation before we recorded once about different types of Cheetos, and I have never seen these Cheeto nachos that he is currently holding up in the video. And so we had a huge conversation about it. I've always
Yeah.
loved hot Cheetos. They
So I
were
can't.
like just a part of my
I love
childhood.
Cheetos, and I have stuff here, so I can't really say John Cena. Like I would trade places, bodies with him immediately. I say it would be kind of weird. It must be like how the Hulk, how Bruce Banner feels when he's the Hulk. Like I would assume it kind of must feel like that. So, but
But
yeah, I
I
just love his acting there, Clay. I want to shout out his acting and his vulnerability there because people said John
and
Cena can't
the
act.
callback to Suicide Squad
Yes,
with
Peacemaker. What a joke.
what a joke. I
Just
loved it. I
loved it.
like that is my one of my favorite lines in the Suicide Squad movie. So to have this in here to kind of just again just take another hit to Peacemaker,
It's one of my
I loved
favorite
it.
things about this show, Clay, is that the ramifications of like that line on its own in just that movie as a one-off is awesome.
Yeah.
But to deal with the ramifications from that and how that's affecting Peacemaker, oh my god, I just love that. And I'm here for anyone who's on my team of John Cena is a better actor than The Rock. I don't think that would be much of a debate, really. I didn't say bigger star or make more money or bigger movie star, but I think John Cena is a better actor slash has more range than Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
You say range, but other
John
than
Cena
his
can be funny and be action and be a little vulnerable. I have seen The Rock be action. I've seen The Rock be a little funny adjacent to action, but that's more like saying one-liners that are like Arnold Schwarzenegger, "I'll be back" type things, not like just telling a joke funny. So I just no, I just don't think I haven't seen Rock in any romantic comedies or any like thing like blockers like John Cena. So no, I'm sorry, The Rock, and
I mean, I
that's
guess I can't really argue against you because I haven't seen those movies either.
yeah. I just there's stuff that I've seen with The Rock Rock is getting into Ryan Reynolds. The Rock is in Ryan Reynolds territory where he's just playing The Rock in different movies, just a different
Yeah.
version of himself. Same thing with Ryan Reynolds. I find Ryan Reynolds just playing Ryan Reynolds. Just be 75% Ryan Reynolds, be 25% Ryan Reynolds. It's essentially what they're telling him in movies. I find the same thing, but I find John Cena is actually like taking some different, kind of like Batista in a way, where I
Yeah.
found like Batista did the Bond movie, and I actually was surprised at how good he was in that. So
Yeah, S-Bubs, they are Canada exclusive. It's Canada and Mexico. We had
yes,
legit, we've had this conversation. I was so mind blown when I
they're
saw this
fantastic too. That's about
because
fantastic.
Travis was like, "Have you ever seen the Yellow Bag?" And I was like, "What?"
You said there's yellow bag, but no,
But
Clay, I'm loving Peacemaker. Like I was shocked at how good this is. I thought
I
we
I
were very
am
hesitant.
I am very much enjoying this. I know that Snell was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you should watch the show. You know, I just think that it may not be your cup of tea. And I will be completely honest. There are some jokes I get them. They're I know what realm of funny that they are, but they are not my cup of tea. So
Yeah,
I'll just like wave it off. But then there are some jokes that are absolutely hilarious. So I get this show and I am very much enjoying it. We have 4 more episodes left
yeah.
of the season. So real quick, before we end this podcast, again, just like Darius was saying, we don't want to lose him as a uh, listener and theorist because you said you had similar thoughts.
Yes.
So, what is the connection that you guys are getting from Peacemaker and Blue Beetle?
I've seen it bandied about a little bit online, and I've thought about it as well. Especially, what made me think about it first was in the second episode when Cena's using that. Well, when Peacemaker's using that little tower thing that glows, and we get the hieroglyphics, and then he changes it into somewhat of a spaceship type
Oh
thing.
yes, I almost
That is the
completely forgot about
that
that
was the
because
first thing that
they
made me clued in because of Young Justice is after showing me uh, that the reach like that type of technology, that kind of conforming, like changing from one thing to another completely different thing, transmorphic
interesting.
maybe.
Okay,
So
yeah,
that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
first thing that clued into me. So then I did some looking, like Darius is saying, Uh, confirmed next year. Also, Blue Beetle and Peacemaker have teamed up in some comic story arcs. So that's why, and the fact that it's going to be on HBO Max, like he said here, they teamed up particularly in a very similar comic story arc to the Peacemaker series. And again, with Blue Beetle having official release set for next year, something to really think about. I don't know if we'll see Blue Beetle, but I think we could
So
get, because none of the press has seen the final episode. So they
one
don't know the
thing,
final stinger, and I think maybe we could get a scarab type thing for the final teaser.
well, one thing that we do have to remember, because not a whole lot of people know this, Blue Beetle, the original Blue Beetle, the concept of the character, as well as Peacemaker, were not original DC characters.
No, they were
They were
not.
characters that were purchased, and they were purchased within the same group.
Yep.
So I am picking up with you guys are putting down. I actually like it. I think, but if that is true, we are most likely seeing Ted Cord that will most likely introduce us to Jaime Reyes, because I will not be on board with James Gunn introducing us to uh Sholo as Blue Beetle.
No, they wouldn't do that because you can't. There's so much technology from the Reach and Blue Beetle, like the Scarabs and that. You can't just show him. Like that's
Hmm.
too. That wouldn't make any sense. I could see we getting a post credit scene of somebody coming to Cord Industries and giving Ted Cord the Scarab for the first time to study, and then we'll go out of that, and that can be your lead into the Blue Beetle series where Ted Cord's kind of the mentor to Jaime Reyes, and you go on like that. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
could be. I don't know why what they're doing, so I don't want to get anything in. But I think we could see that technology shown.
Charlton Comics.
There you go. That's what it was. Yeah,
They were Charlton characters.
yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that we could totally see just a scarab type thing. The way that tower with the hieroglyphics changed into what seemed like a space, like or a blaster or anything. Just the way that it changed. That's the first thing
It
I
kind
thought
of looked
about.
like a shield.
Yeah, and the first thing I thought of it was scarabs. I don't know why, but that's what because I can remember Young Justice is kind of what I thought about. To be honest with you.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think Darius is onto something. I don't know. I don't think he's in the chat anymore. But Darius, I am in agreement with you there. Like it's just that we had to wait till the very end to talk about that. I like I said, John Cena befriending the butterfly. I think will come back to help them in the end.
That's very, very interesting. Um, very, very cool. But with that, guys, that is the end of the show. We
Yes.
thank you so much for having a very lively chat this evening. Very good episode. Love the content that we talked about. Of course, thank you, Joe, for being there with Travis to talk about the funeral scene from The Batman. Espub says it looked like a shield, but at the end of the third episode, uh, the season on Peacemaker showed that they were little spaceships.
Yeah. So they're maybe had the butterflies are getting from space to here. So that's
Oh,
why I'm
okay,
like,
okay.
who's even sending them? Maybe the Reach are sending them. This is going to be the test trial before they start sending scarabs. I don't know. Or maybe they send the scarabs to stop the butterflies. There's so many different little possibilities they could
Yeah,
do there.
there's a lot there.
I just like you
Um,
said, I don't want them to touch like the people, the characters in Blue Beetle. I don't. I want that sacred for the person telling that Blue Beetle story.
yeah,
But to get a little bit of background on the technology, that's fine and dandy to me. That's something that would help and would make a cohesive. That's the thing I like about some of like the DC movies with this show. Like seeing Amanda Waller, that's something that as a DC fan, it's nice to see TV and movies kind of colliding uh, more so than Crisis on Infinite Earths cameo fest.
All right, guys. Well, with that, thank you so much for lasting this long. My name, of course, at Fanboy Clay on Twitter. You can find me on shows that of this DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Ranger Alliance, and of course Star Wars Alliance. Travis, where can they find you?
Not that many shows. I just don't know how he does it, listeners. I will never know. DC Alliance, this one right here, and superhero discussions. We're like I said earlier, we're in Spectacular Spider-Man mode. I recorded myself for 105 and 106, but Joe joined me for 107. All those are in the can, so patrons, you should be getting the one episode ahead of the regular listeners. So thanks again.
Very, very, very cool. All right, guys, we will see you guys next week.